The definition of a movie monologue is a long speech given by a single character in a film, often when they're alone. The word monologue comes from the Greek words monos, which means alone, and logos, which means speech. Some of the greatest moments in movie history comes in the shape of a monologue. We are here to count down our favourite ones. First, here are the top 10 monologues as voted for by ranker.com. At number 10... they have Red Pill, Blue Pill, Lawrence Fishburne in The Matrix.
Do you want to know what it is?
At number 9, they have Liam Neeson and I Will Find You from Taken.
I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
At number 8, it's Viggo Mortensen, Hold Your Ground from Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. Hold your ground! At number 7, it's the Keep Moving Forward speech from Sylvester Stallone in Rocky Balboa.
You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life.
At number 6, it's How I Got These Scars by Heath Ledger and The Dark Knight.
I don't know how I got these scars.
I said that like it was a song. I didn't mean to do it like that. At number 5, it's Ezekiel 25:17 from Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Fiction.
And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger.
I pressed 2 buttons at the same time then. I didn't mean to, sorry. I know, I've completely lost where I am now. Oh no. At number 4, it's Tears in Rain from Blade Runner by Rutger Hauer.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
And number 3, it's Anthony Hopkins. Lecter dresses down Clarice in Silence of the Lambs.
People will say we're in love.
At number 2, Morgan Freeman, the voiceover at the end in The Shawshank Redemption.
For the second time in my life, I'm guilty of committing a crime.
And the number 1 monologue, as voted for by Ranker.com, is Jack Nicholson in The Few Good Men and You Can't Handle the Truth.
You can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth, indeed. Well, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, this one's going to be a tough one, I feel. I feel this one's going to be tough. But we've got a movie expert with us. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome TopHead Jen. Hello, Jen. So nice to have you back.
Hello, number 3. Do I get a jacket when my fifth one?
We've said before, what we want to do is we want to get, like if you're in football or soccer, if you score 3 goals, you get to keep the match ball. We want to get some little match balls. So anybody that comes and joins us for 3 gets a match ball. But it costs too much and we haven't got any money. So unfortunately...
we'll think of something.
We have a spiritual football to give you.
Virtual
one.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
How are you, Jen? How's things going?
Good. It's been very hot here in Pittsburgh. I don't like it at the end of October being, I don't know, it's probably 25 Celsius, maybe. No, over 20. I don't know. I can't do the math that fast.
What's that?
It's in the 70s. It was 82 yesterday, Fahrenheit.
Wow. My goodness. In October, it's my end of October as well.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Why?
Because I like it cold.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yes. I like it. Yeah. I don't. Heat and humidity are 2 of my least favorite words.
Well, even in the summer, do you sort of accept it when it's summertime, or you hate it even more?
Yeah, I keep the house at 68.
Do you?
No, that's all. Well, the other thing is too, I don't like bugs, and the colder the house is, the less bugs I get.
I'm with you on that.
'Cause I live like near woods and stuff.
Yeah, we get lots of like flies and stuff in the summertime, and it really is horrible. It's not necessarily the flies; it's that constant low-level hum and buzz that you can't see where the flies are, but you can hear them, and that really just
that little zzz next to you.
It's horrible. I hate it.
Bring on the cold, so they all die.
Indeed. Now, I wasn't with you the last time you joined.
I know.
Top 10 because you the Hitchcock, didn't the Hitchcock top 10
with Corinne and Beale. Yes.
But I did listen to it, and I must admit, the one thing with you, Jen, is you are always full of amazing facts.
So I do love trivia.
I'm kind of hoping that A, you're going to do really well on the quiz, and B, you're going to just dot in little facts all the way through this.
Yes, I will bore you to sobs.
No, not at all. Now, how hard did you find putting your top 10 together?
It was very difficult. I think I mentioned to you, I was trying to give myself like a parameter of, because I'm such a movie nerd, I was trying not to consider movies that were based on plays or books, just because as a written medium, I feel like there's already an advantage to that, which is, is really difficult to figure out, if it was just written for the screen. And then I thought, oh, okay, so then I'll try to find something that's like a minute, like what you said. What's a monologue, speech? What's the definition? And there were ones that I thought of, like my head, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll totally do that one. And then I went to watch it. I'm like, oh, that's more like 2 sentences.
Because that was what I was looking at as well, is that what's the difference between a monologue and, say, a great movie quote? Now, we've already done an episode on movie quotes. And when I did my original list, I noticed that a couple of my movie quotes were in my monologues. And I thought, no, I can't do that. I can't have them. I have to split them apart. Right.
Yeah. So I think I there were a few that kept getting pushed off the list, but I mean, I'm committed. This is what we're going with. No turning back.
It's set in stone now. It's set in stone. So before we actually get into our number 10, so we got to do this.
Lisa's challenge.
What the fuck are you saying?
Thank you very much, Lisa, for that. So, Jen, how many do you think we're going to get that's the same? How many duplicates do you think in our top 10?
I think 2 for sure.
Okay.
Maybe 3.
Okay.
But I'll tell you what. There was one I immediately thought of, and I thought, you know what? Pop's going to have it. I bet in his top 5, and I wasn't going to put it that high on the list. So I'm like, I'm going to drop it off because I don't want to steal your thunder.
Oh, no.
So I took it. No, I'm like, no, this movie is more important to him.
God,
so I just took it off my list.
Okay. So what do you want to go for, 2 or 3?
2.
Okay.
I feel confident with 2 for sure.
Okay. I reckon we're going to have 4.
Wow.
I think we're going to have 4 the same.
Okay.
I'm going to stick my neck out there. I might be completely wrong, but let's give it a go. Okay,
all right.
Then, Jen, kick us off. What is your number 10?
If you have this, I will be shocked. This is a movie from 2003 called Down with Love with Renee Zellweger and Ewan McGregor. I love this movie. I saw it in the theater twice. It's a love letter to the Rock Hudson Doris Day movies of the 60s. And it's an amazing cast. Besides Renee and Ewan, it's David Hyde Pierce, Sarah Paulson, Tony Randall. It is. I just watched it again because I own it. It's just delightful. It's delightful. The music, the sets, the costumes. And there's a scene I remember seeing in the theater. There is a speech that Renee's character, Barbara Novak, gives for over 3 minutes, where the camera's just on her. And she basically explains the entire plot of the movie for 3 minutes in a single take. And I remember in the theater, like, she's going and going. You're like, is she still, what is happening? Like, you can't believe she's still talking. And it's so ridiculous. And then at the end, they cut to Ewan's reaction shot, and it's hysterical. So that's my number 10, her speech in Down with Love.
Yeah, I've never seen that movie. Isn't that like set in the 60s, isn't it? Or set in the 50s or
Yeah, it is. It's set in the 60s. So, I'm trying to give the shout out to all the writers in this too. So it's Eve Allert and Dennis Drake wrote this screenplay. They even they use some of the old timey like backdrops, when they're driving and it looks ridiculous because it's painted. They use some of those from the 60s in this movie. So yeah, you should track it down. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
It's a rom-com, basically. Then,
oh, yeah. Totally. Yeah.
And how far away?
Have you seen any Doris Day or Rock Hudson movies?
Oh, yeah, I love Doris Day movies.
Okay, yeah. So if you like those...
It's in that kind of
vein. It's totally an homage to those.
Right, okay. Well, that's a great one to start with then. And you're absolutely right. No, I haven't got that one. See, now, straight from that first one, I'm thinking that 4 is way too ambitious.
I don't want to say anything, Papa. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're gonna come in at these very different angles. I
Oh
think.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm super dorky when it comes to this stuff.
Absolutely. Well, my number 10. It was the first one that was on my list, and as I kept thinking about it, it got further and further down. And I believe that on when actors are doing monologues for auditions, this has been the most one, the one that they always do, and it's the Always Be Closing from Glengarry Glen Ross, Alec Baldwin. Now, part of me was thinking, is this a monologue? Because he does actually talk to people in the office while he's doing this whole, I've come from downtown. Mitch Murray have sent me down. If anybody, and I've said this before about Glengarry Glen Ross, for me, it is one of the absolute lessons in acting. It's an amazing cast, and it drags you in right from the start, and you feel, you've obviously seen this movie.
I started watching it years ago, and it was so hard for me to see Jack Lemmon being treated like he seems like a sad character,
Yes.
and I couldn't watch it.
I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly, because he is, but
I love Jack Lemmon.
Yeah, and I've seen this on stage as well, and it was.
Oh wow!
The thing is, though,
it's Mamet, right?
It is Mamet, and it's that whole thing that every single pause and beat. It's a bit like Sorkin as well, isn't it? It's like every apostrophe, every beat has to be exactly how he's written it, because it's like poetry.
And all the swear words are like machine gun.
Oh, it's just
shots. Yeah.
If I ever just want to watch something just because of the art of it, it's because it's like I say, it's a movie about loads of horrible people. They're all salesmen, and they all they want to do is just sell, and doesn't care how they do it, and they're all just horrible, deeply immoral people. But it is just a fascinating watch, and everybody is on their game. I mean, you got Kevin Spacey, Al Pacino, Ed Harris, Jack. I mean, I love Jack Lemmon, but Jack Lemmon in his older days playing this beat up guy, Alan Arkin, it's Jonathan Pierce. It's just a great movie. And if anybody gets a chance, but this is the famous, you need brass balls to sell real estate.
Right.
It's just so quotable. But that for me, I mean, like I say, it was number one, and then it just kept getting knocked down. I felt like it had to be in there as one of the top 10 monologues.
I get it.
Okay, your number 9 then, please, Jen.
Okay. Taking me back to the summer of 1986. I remember seeing it in the theater, and at the time thinking, this may be the greatest movie ever made. And I think you'll know life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you can miss it. It's the opening speech, the opening monologue of Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And I just remember I still use barf up a lung sometimes, and it's childish and stupid, but so is high school. I mean, he sets up the whole movie, and you're like, yes, I feel it's John Hughes, of course. So immediately it's this, teenager like, how does he know this is what we're thinking? So that's my number 9.
That's a great one. See, I didn't see this movie till about 2 years ago. Maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I went through like 2 or 3 days of watching old John Hughes movies.
Yeah.
I watched Breakfast Club at the same time. And it's only when you watch those movies then you realise, oh my God, that's where that meme comes from. Or that's that bit in The Simpsons that The Simpsons took the mickey out of.
Oh, yeah.
It's just full of iconic moments.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and just
the bit at the end as well, isn't it? When you still here? What are you still here for?
Oh yeah, that's why I still stayed through every credit sequence since that movie.
You have to
every time before the Marvel movies. I stayed through. I'll always stay through the credits.
You have to.
Yep.
That's a great one. That's a great one.
Yeah.
And you talk about that. It was my number 9. It's a movie that I've watched, and again, it's another John Hughes movie. I've watched this movie 100 times. Easily. And I think probably the 4th or 5th last time I watched it, I just happened to be on my phone while the credits were going, and I didn't realise it had a little sting at the end of the movie, right? And it's Planes, Trains and Automobiles. And this is, for me, this the bit that gets you in the heart. It's John Candy when he's telling Steve Martin why he's got no home, or why he, you know, and there's I don't know if you've seen the Steve Martin documentary that has come out.
No, I haven't.
He has all of his scripts like bound so that he can read them. And he talks about John Candy and says that this particular speech was actually a lot longer. And he starts reading the speech about the fact that, you know, he finds somebody and he clings on to them, but this, you know, this guy, he couldn't let go. And Steve Martin starts tearing up because obviously John Candy passed away. But so basically John Candy is sat in the I think it was a bus station or a rail station, I think it was, after Steve Martin has gone home. And then Steve Martin pieces them together and realizes that, John Candy is full of crap basically and hasn't got anywhere to go. And but before he gets there, John Candy talks to his deceased wife and says, well, Marie, once again, you were right as rain. I'm without a doubt the biggest pain in the butt that ever came down the pike. And it's so beautiful. It really is. And then it finishes on a lovely high. But I can't believe there's anybody out there.
I've seen that one in decades. I should probably I need to see it again. Yeah.
It is a perfect Thanksgiving movie.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But then what I was saying about earlier on was that, like, the reason that Steve Martin is late for his train or late for his plane or whatever it is because his boss is looking at two pictures. He's an advertising agent or whatever, and he's looking at these two pictures and can't work out which one he wants to choose for some perfume or something. And then as the credits finish, that boss is still sat at his desk looking at these two pictures and cannot make and I didn't even realize it had been there. In the decades that I've watched that movie, and I never realized that was even there. So always watch to the end of the credits, kids. That's what I say.
Always be closing. Always stay for the credits.
Yes, indeed. Great one. Go on then. Your number 8, please, Jen.
I'm sure this is the one I think you're going to have. But again, saw it opening day in the theater, 1996. I think what I remember more about it was that they were releasing Star Wars Episode 3, and that trailer came on before the movie, and the crowd went. But it's President Whitmore's speech on Independence Day.
Oh, that was on my list, but it didn't make my top 10. It didn't.
I just remember it. And just some of these I almost chose for like a cultural impact. And I feel that is still referenced, almost 30 years later when he's like, today we celebrate our Independence Day. Like, hooray. Yeah. That's my number 8. Okay, then maybe we're just going to have one.
Maybe. Interesting question. So when you look at somebody like President Whitmore, or I don't know if you're a fan of The West Wing or someone like that, and you look at, we never want to get political here, but you look at like cinematic or television presidents. Do you often wish that you could write a president that you could have?
I'm still waiting for President Bartlett to become real. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I forgot the writers for this, Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich.
Yes.
Just to give them props. That's quite an exciting, rousing speech. Let's the whole world, let's unite and fight the aliens.
Yeah.
So I know some of those. Well, we've had some good speeches from real politicians, but sometimes the fictional ones, you're like, oh, why? Why can't we have that real?
And the whole world fighting aliens, simpler times, wasn't it? Wasn't it simpler times when all we had to do was just
uploaded a virus on a computer disk?
Yeah, and the alien ship just happened to have the same USB port that we have. How mad is that?
Yeah, I know. We were still doing dial-up back then, and somehow they were able to take out the entire race.
Oh God, can you imagine?
Simpler times.
I can remember when that came out. Yeah, simpler times. It's simpler times,
Yeah.
If only those aliens would come and try and attack us now. Maybe it'd just bring the world together.
We'd know what to do. Just call Jeff Goldblum.
Indeed.
Yeah.
My number 8, I'm going for Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
I'm because there are so many different monologues in Pulp Fiction. I'm going for the Christopher Walken Gold Watch story.
Oh yes,
when he's talking to the young Butch, and I don't really want to tell if you have. I mean, obviously, there's how many people have not seen Pulp Fiction, but it is.
I mean, it's been a while, but I remember that speech.
It's exactly, and it is Tarantino, my favorite director of all time. Tarantino, he's just a great writer, and the fact that he can put this whole story in a 3-4 minute monologue, and it's such an amazing story that he's, he had this watch. Or his father had this.
No idea where it was going, that story.
Exactly, and that's the beauty of it. Is that it's a heartbreaking story that he's telling the son of this Vietnam veteran. Well, no, I suppose a Vietnam victim, if you like.
Right,
and the fact that he had to hide this watch in a certain place so that the enemy couldn't get it, and then it's the fact that he says to him, "But now I give it to you," and you think, "Oh my God, I hope he's cleaned it."
Thanks.
Yeah, that's the look on the kid's face, which is brilliant. Is the fact that the kids are going, "Oh, thanks very much for that," and then it cuts to Bruce Willis, and it's so good. It is so good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I'm going to stick that one at number 8. So you're number 7 then, please, Jen.
Well, if we don't have this one, I mean, I don't know you.
Okay.
I don't know you. But this one is, again, culturally significant. I thought, saw it in the theater. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you are. Liam Neeson has a special set of skills. Take it, 2008.
Yeah, that's not in my top 10, but it was in my list. It was on my list. It was on my list.
We're definitely not going to have any more.
Well, because the thing is, I feel like if you said to anybody, so off the top of your head, just give me a famous speech from a movie. That is one that people is iconic. Absolutely.
I know. And it was such a little, I don't think anyone expected to make money.
No.
Liam Neeson certainly didn't think it was going to make any money. And I get the writers, Luc Besson, who gave us Leon the Professional.
Yes.
And Robert Mark Kamen, who gave us La Femme Nikita and the Karate Kid movies. So that's my fun fact on that one. But yeah, I feel that that's still quoted, that launched a franchise. And I rewatched it not too long ago. And he lays out what he's going to do in that speech, and he does it.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie, you're like, well, he
absolutely reinvented him as well, didn't it? It reinvented his whole career. He all of a sudden then started doing every kind of like revenge movie.
Oh, yeah.
Did they do 2 or 3 of those?
I think there were 3.
Wow.
Total. I didn't see any more.
No, I was going to say, I've only watched the first one as well.
How many kidnappings can one family go through with it? I'm like, again?
It's that the Die Hard kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
How can this?
I don't always need a sequel. I don't always need a sequel.
No, but it's like easy money, kind of, isn't it? They're just going to do the same thing. But I feel it's. I mean, when you say that now, I feel like it should be in my top 10. The same as the Glenn Ross one. I feel like it's so iconic that it should be in my top 10.
But it felt iconic at the moment.
Yes.
In the theater when you heard it too. That's what some of these other ones were like in the moment. I just felt like, oh, something just happened. People are it's just gonna.
And you think for every revenge movie there's been, why haven't they said that before? Is the fact something like that. What year was that? What year was taken?
2008.
Oh my God.
I know.
Just makes you feel so old. That's like 16 years ago. That is crazy. That is crazy.
It is.
Dear me.
Yeah.
Okay. So my 4 now. My 4 is. I'm feeling like it's not going to be anything near 4. I don't think.
Yeah. Because I can't imagine. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. But I don't think so.
Well,
okay, so you're 7 then.
My number 7 is actually another Pulp Fiction one. It's the one that was in the top 10 clips, and I'm going for the Ezekiel 25:17, the Samuel L. Jackson. We talk about iconic. I mean, that has been parodied so many times.
Yeah,
but it's also. I was watching it just in preparation, and again, even now, I mean, I don't know how many times I've watched Pulp Fiction. I really don't. But even now, there are moments in the background that you notice John Travolta, once he gets to a certain part of the speech, John Travolta gets his gun out and he's ready. It's like, they've not done this. This isn't the first time he's done this. He's done this loads of times. And John Travolta knows that once he starts saying that speech, the person he's talking to is no more. Like we're just gonna shoot him and we're gonna kill him. And that kind of stuff. Those little moments are the things that just give the scene even more character than it's already got. But Samuel L. Jackson is just fantastic in that whole movie.
And always in everything. Yeah. Like when he appears, you're kind of like, exactly. Whatever movie.
He is that kind of, I mean, especially when you look at him in something like Marvel, where he's, Nick Fury. As soon as he's there, you think, okay, well, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right because Samuel L. Jackson's there. Yeah. I mean, he's one of those guys, isn't he? He's just one of those guys. Okay, your number 6 then, please.
Okay, going in the time machine for this one, back to 1949.
Oh.
This is The Third Man.
Ooh.
Which might have been was that on my black and white list, maybe?
I think it was.
Yeah. This movie's, it's just, oh my gosh, it's so amazing. It was based on a Graham Greene novel. So that was my little cheat. But from what I learned, he admits he didn't write this speech. They think the story is that Orson did it on the fly.
Really?
So this is the famous cuckoo clock speech. Do you know this one?
Yes. I mean, I saw the film after your episode.
Yeah.
Just so that I could say that I've seen it, because it was one of those movies in the long list of greatest movies that I've never seen. Yeah. So I need to watch it again, definitely. But I can,
So good. But I was trying to, because that's the famous part, but the scene right before he's on the Ferris wheel with Joseph Cotton, it's almost a speech. I mean, Joseph he gets like 2 sentences in, so it's almost a whole speech, but this is like the end. So, but even on the Ferris wheel, it's this incredible scene where these 2 old friends are basically, like Orson's basically saying it's fun to be the bad guy. Like he's been making all this money off killing children, basically. And he's like, you're not going to turn me in, old buddy. And Joseph Cotton's like, I mean, that's not cool. And and then he gets out and he talks about, I wrote it down. It's like in Italy for 30 years under the Borgias, they had warfare, terror, murder, and bloodshed. And they produced Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, and the Renaissance. In Switzerland, they had brotherly love. They had 500 years of democracy and peace. And what did that produce? The cuckoo clock. And then he leaves. So, yeah. I love that.
One.
It's a good. Everyone should just watch that movie anyway, because it's fantastic.
I must admit, we've had half of your top 10 so far. I thought we were going to get more movies from like the 40s and 50s. I really thought you were going to. You probably will have more in your next 5.
There were some. Yeah, there were a few that I have, but then when I went back and watched, I'm like, it's not like a speech. It's more just like a long sentence. So. But no, I did have a few more. And then when I was like, I can't. No, it doesn't. Can't make it fit the category. So
no, that's fair enough. That's another good, another absolute classic. Absolute classic.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 6 was another one that was actually in the ranker.com top 10. But it's the Keep Moving Forward from Rocky Balboa. So Rocky 6, I think it unofficially is. It's when Rocky is talking to his son, and his son is just being a bit of an obnoxious ass, really, and thinks that he's owed all this kind of stuff. And Rocky's out on the street talking to him, and it is just an inspirational speech. I think one of the best kind of monologues is where it works in the story, but if you just read it out as a speech or read it out as words, it works just for life. Right, and the whole thing of, nothing hits harder than life, and everybody realizes that. Everybody can associate themselves with those words, and it's not about getting hit, it's about moving forward, and you keep getting hit and moving forward, and sometimes that's easier said than done. But I know that there's a couple of TikTok videos where that speech is being said, and then they've got like inspirational music behind it, and you kind of it's those kind of moments when you get lost in TikTok, and then all of a sudden you're watching dogs and owners coming together, and you start crying. And all. Oh God, it gets so bad. But yeah, and the fact that Sylvester Stallone, I don't think he gets the credit for how good a writer he is. You know, he wrote I think he wrote all the Rocky films. I'm pretty sure he did. He may not have directed all of them, or whatever, but I'm pretty sure he wrote.
Yeah, it was his character for sure.
Absolutely, and yeah, I think it's. I mean, if you read it, it is just a great inspirational speech.
Yeah.
And it makes his son sort of think twice about
right
being a stuck up little
shit. Right.
But anyway, okay, we're halfway through, so it is now time for this
Pop quiz, hot shot.
Oh boy,
pop quiz, hot shot. Now,
thanks, Dennis Hopper.
That's right. I think you're going to do really well with this. Okay. Now, I have tweaked it a little bit. I'm going to give you a line of dialogue from a movie. You need to tell me what movie it's from. Okay. Okay, so it's not the whole monologue, but I'm just going to give you a line. Let's see how you... I think you're going to do really well on this, okay? Okay, here's number one. I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
It's Robert Duvall in Apocalypse Now.
See what I mean? I think you're going to storm this one. Number two. It was one of those days when it's a minute away from snowing. It was one of those days when it's a minute away from snowing.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Can you give me no, you can't give me clues.
I can't get... No. I think it's an early 2000s movie. I think that's... although I might be leading...
I'm nothing. Nothing.
No?
I don't want to guess and be like so far off the mark it's worse than not knowing.
It's American Beauty.
Oh gosh, I haven't seen that since it came out.
I know, yeah. I'm the same.
Pretty dark. Okay. It's a dark one.
Yeah, it is. It's
not a feel-good movie that I watch over and over again.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. Number three. I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion.
My first thought is Star Wars, but Orion doesn't. Oh gosh, I don't know.
No?
Doing terrible.
Pop quiz.
Oh, wrong button.
Sorry, Dennis.
It's Blade Runner.
Again, I haven't seen it in a very long time.
Okay.
Very long time. Again, another feel-good movie that I know.
I mean, they're all feel-good movies. Okay, number four. My father was a drinker and a fiend.
Is this another Pulp Fiction one?
It's not a Pulp Fiction one, no. I'll give you a clue. It's a superhero movie. My father was a drinker and a fiend.
You had a bad dad. Oh, is it the Joker? No. The Dark Knight Rises?
I'm going to give you that. I'll cut it off before you said Rises. It was the Dark Knight.
Is it the Joker that says it?
It was the Joker that said it. Yeah,
okay.
Heath Ledger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number five. God wouldn't have given you maracas if he didn't want you to shake them.
I don't know.
No?
No.
I mean, it's one of the ultimate romantic movies.
Casablanca. They didn't say maracas in Casablanca.
I cannot imagine Humphrey Bogart saying, "Hey, God wouldn't have given you maracas if he didn't want you to shake them, baby." And I don't think that would have that wouldn't have been right. It was Dirty Dancing.
Oh my gosh! I'm so embarrassed.
Okay.
I can quote a lot of other things from that movie, but wow, that does not ring a bell.
There you go.
You should have done I brought a watermelon. I mean, I would have had that.
You'd have got that one. I don't want to make it too easy.
I know.
We got number six. I ain't I ain't eat nothing that ain't got no sense enough to disregard its own feces.
I ain't eat nothing?
I ain't eat nothing that ain't got no sense enough to disregard its own feces.
I mean, I want to. First, that was Forrest Gump, but again, it's been so. These are probably movies I've seen, and I just haven't seen in a long time.
Well, this is a movie that we've spoken about a lot so far in the.
So another Pulp Fiction quote.
I'm going to give you that. It is, yes. It's Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta when John Travolta is eating bacon in the diner at the end.
Not the quarter pounder with cheese.
No, it's when they've got their shorts and t-shirt on.
I should just be saying Quentin Tarantino for all of these.
Yeah, I don't need to see. There are no more Tarantino movies in the last 4, okay? Okay. Number 7, nice hat, Harry.
Oh, it's Raiders. It's Indiana.
No, it's Jaws.
Oh man, he with these feel-good movies. Yeah, I haven't seen. Wait, who's Harry?
So Harry is the old guy on the beach.
It's Robert Shaw.
And,
okay.
No, and Roy Scheider goes past him and just flippantly says, "Nice hat, Harry," because I think they're talking about the beach.
It's so obscure. Come on.
But okay.
I object.
Number 8. You should get this one. I hope so. You call yourself a salesperson, you son of a bitch?
Like Gary Glenn Ross?
Yes, it is. Well done. Well done. Okay, number 9. The hardest choices require the strongest wills.
It sounds like Uncle Ben, but I don't think
It's a superhero movie. The hardest choices require the strongest wills.
This is something Alfred would have said to Bruce in a Batman movie. No, we already had a Batman movie.
I'm gonna narrow it down for you. It's a Marvel movie.
It's Marvel.
Marvel, yeah.
I'll try to think. It was like the older character telling. It's not Uncle Ben. I'm gonna say. Oh my gosh. Odin. I have no idea.
No, it's Avengers Infinity War. It was Thanos that said that.
Oh my God. See, you had to do it in his voice and I would have gotten it.
Oh yeah, I should do them all in the voice, but I'm terrible at doing voices. So. And the final one.
Bogart.
Apart from Humphrey Bogart. I could do them all as Humphrey Bogart if you want. The final one. As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Oh, that's good, fellas.
Well done. 5 out of 10.
But I got like 2?
5 out of 10. That's not bad. That's 50%.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
I would
not
not have passed class. Okay.
That's not bad at all. So well done.
Yeah. Well, you'll see from the rest of my list, we're not watching the same movies all the time.
No. But all I can say to that is, here's looking at you, kid. How about that? There you go.
Oh, golly.
Oh, and the crowd go wild. Okay. So, Jen, your number 5 then, please.
Okay. Well, going back to what you're saying about Rocky as far as a speech that you can sort of take out of a movie and use it for life, this was another one. In 1989, Tom Schulman won the Oscar, and it's the Carpe Diem speech in Dead Poets Society that Robin Williams, as the teacher John Keating, when he has the students, the boys in front of they're looking at the school's old photographs of the long dead students, and he's talking about Carpe Diem, and it's very powerful, and it's very quiet scene. At the end, he says, "Make your lives extraordinary." And that, that hits you when you're like 20 and in college and trying to figure stuff out. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm going to be a school teacher at a private school. But yeah, that didn't work out. Yeah, but no, I
haven't seen that film for a long, long time, but I can remember.
Me neither, but I
remember crying
in the day. Oh yeah. Captain, my captain. Like it was.
Yeah.
Watched it a lot. Yeah.
Ethan Hawke.
So that was
Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke, Robert Sean Leonard.
That's right.
Yeah. people like Sam Waterston's son, which I can't remember his name. Yeah, yeah. It was like a cast of unknowns, basically.
Yeah. And what year was that? Did you say?
Peter, that's 89. That's Peter Weir. Yeah.
Peter Weir, Witness, and Picnic at Hanging Rock, and things like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my 5.
That's another movie I need to sort of watch again because at the time wasn't that one of Robin Williams' first sort of real serious.
Yes, because I almost had another Robin Williams speech, but I didn't want to do him twice.
Right.
But this movie just was much more significant to me in my life. The other one I remember in the theater, but it's not one that I've quoted or gone back to. But yeah, I think this is one of the first ones where people are like, he's not just Mork from Ork.
That was the thing. Yeah, because I was trying to think. So 1989, let's have a look and see what else he was doing around that time. Because he was still doing, Hook was after it, and Fisher King was, I thought.
And Aladdin, I think, was Aladdin would have been early 90s, so he did Aladdin after this, I think.
Yeah, Good Morning Vietnam was just before.
Right.
Yeah, oh, yes.
Yeah.
Another one, sorely missed. Be interesting to see what kind of stuff he would be doing now if he was still alive.
Yeah, right.
Great one. Okay, my number 5, this was one that Robert Shaw actually wrote for Jaws. And it's as Quint, and it's the U.S. Indianapolis delivering the bomb. Have you got that one? No. Okay.
I know Jaws from me.
Right.
I remember the shark more than the speeches in that one.
Do you?
Except we need a bigger boat.
Yeah. But this was that because the whole point of like Jaws was this killer shark, and then you've got you've got Quint, Robert Shaw, you got Richard Dreyfuss and Roy Scheider then go out on the boat to kill the shark. And there's all this sort of high energy and action. And then they're just having a drink together and they're all getting drunk and they're all comparing scars and which is a height of comedy. And then I think it's Richard Dreyfuss then says to Quint, "Oh, what's that scar?" And he said, "Oh, it's a tattoo." And then I think Richard Dreyfuss then said, "Oh, what is it, Mum? Does this?" And then he's laughing his head off, and he goes, "No, that's the USS Indianapolis," and that stops Richard Dreyfuss in his tracks. And then he comes out with this amazing speech about the fact that they went to go and deliver the bomb, the Hiroshima bomb, but the boat sank, and he said that was I'll never put on a life jacket again because all the people around him got killed by sharks, and but Robert Shaw wrote that. He wrote that whole speech, and it's unbelievable because it is just this little pool of just amazingness in this like frenzy of not being killed by this shark, and it's just this
like a quiet moment in the chaos.
Yeah. And it just finishes with which says, "Anyway, we delivered the bomb," and you think, oh.
Right, and I rewatched not that long ago because I own it. I'm like, I haven't watched this in a while. The Sting, and he's fantastic and everything, but that movie that's a good movie. That's a good movie. Yeah, and he's great in that.
And I noticed that there's a stage show about Jaws.
Yes, I remember. Yes.
And it's his son that plays.
Yes, I did see something on the news of it. Yeah.
And it is freaky because he looks just like Quint from Jaws. I know it's his son.
Yeah.
But the sideburns and everything is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, then, Jen, your number 4, please.
Okay. This is very recent, but again, in the theater, saw it twice. And this scene, it was one of those like, that was amazing. And this is Wolverine's speech to Deadpool in the Honda Odyssey in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh my God. I should have put this in.
Yeah.
That is such a good one.
It's like a masterclass in acting. It's like this Wolverine, like one of the most tragic characters in the MCU, if not anywhere. And like that scene, it's so brutal. And his rage just keeps building and building as the speech goes on, and he's like hits the roof and And then Ryan Reynolds, you can't even see his face, but just his body language when he just kind of sinks after. Oh, that's
so good. Yeah.
That's Ryan before.
Normally he's got this witty, quippy remark, and all he says is, I'm going to fight you now.
Yeah.
That's all he has. He can't say anything.
You got nothing to say, mouse.
Yeah.
Christ, that was just like Hugh Jackman was here then. Oh my God. That was better than my Humphrey Bogart.
And my claws. Yeah.
But I love that movie. I was only talking to somebody about it today. The fact that
I would have gone back and seen it a third time.
Oh.
Honestly. It was just so fun.
Yeah.
I mean, don't start taking it, this plot hole, blah, blah. It was no. I laughed and laughed and laughed. It was just fun.
Yeah.
And I love Hugh Jackman. So.
And also a great use of Like a Prayer at the end.
I bought it. I bought it. You can buy it on whatever line it's today. The album with the remix. It's like 3 versions. So it's like the fight one and then like the choral version at the end.
That's online. I'm going to have to buy that.
I bought it on iTunes. If you still do iTunes or Apple, whatever. But you buy all 3 of them. So
yeah, because I've noticed.
I was waking up to it for a while.
I bet. What they started doing on TikTok is people have been putting that music to other movies, like Star Wars, and I'm sat at work watching it during dinner time with like tears streaming down my face because it works for any kind of dramatic part of a movie.
Yeah,
it is so good.
Thought?
So
and
good.
The use of NSYNC too. I mean,
my God,
brilliant!
What a great
all the music and Grease. That's what they use in this fight scene. I mean, yeah, it's a great movie. It's a great movie.
It's now
come on, Disney Plus. When are you gonna put it up?
I know. It's now my second favorite MCU movie of all time, behind Avengers
After Endgame.
Yeah.
After Endgame. Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah.
I did on the Patreon, I did an addendum issue where I had to change my top 10 because I had to put it in there. After watching it, I had to put it in my top 10.
It got bumped.
Yeah, had to.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Love it.
Oh, I wish I'd put that one in there now. Oh, okay. My number 4, I'm going for one of my favourite movies of all time, Field of Dreams. And it's Terrence Mann at the end telling Ray Kinsella that they will come. Don't worry, Ray, they will come. The fact that he's trying to explain to Ray that people will come they won't even know why they're coming.
Right,
and,
right.
It's a beautiful way. It brings everybody together. All the baseball players stop playing and they all start listening to Terrence Mann. One of my favorite movies of all time. And one day I'm going to get to that baseball field. I'm going to get there. I want to go there.
It's in the middle of nowhere. It's have you
ever been?
No, and I've been to Iowa twice, but it's that far out. I mean, it's not close to anything. So
no,
I
just feel like it'd be a religious experience to go to somewhere like that without a shadow of a doubt. But it's
R.I.P. James Earl Jones.
Yes, absolutely. And he was so good. He was so good in that movie. I mean, everybody is great in that movie.
Yeah.
It is, for me, one of those perfect movies. But I've spoken about Field of Dreams so much on this podcast.
Oh, I know.
I don't need to say any more.
I know. I knew Kevin Costner was going to be on your list. I just didn't know where or which movie.
It had to be. Okay, you're number 3 then, Jen.
Okay, this popped in my head, and I don't think a lot of people remember this movie. It's 1993, Malice.
Oh. Bill
Pullman, Nicole Kidman, Alec Baldwin. And I remember, again, seeing this in the theater. It's Alec Baldwin's character who plays Dr. Jed Hill, and he's a surgeon. And he does this speech that starts with, is the question, do I have a God complex? Do you know this one?
I've seen it.
And he goes, it is... I mean, I watched it like 4 times again because it's all over online. It is so delicious and arrogant and narcissistic and smarmy and disdainful. But it's awesome. And I forgot. I'm like, oh, who wrote this? Because, I want to give credit to everybody. Aaron Sorkin.
There you go.
Wrote the story, but apparently hated it. It was like one of his first. It's before West Wing.
Right.
So. And then Scott Frank, I don't know who was responsible for that speech exactly, but it's yeah, it's great. It's great.
I would recommend anybody. I mean, I've never seen the film. I've only seen that clip.
I rewatched it again. It's a little dated. It's very 90s, but there's a very, very young Gwyneth Paltrow that you might miss completely. Phoebe Newirth's in it, George C. Scott, Peter Gallagher. It's a thriller. It's like a murder thriller. It's fun. It's fun. Okay. Yeah, so check it out. That speech. Yeah, you'll remember the speech. So that's my number 3.
Add that to the ever-growing list. Okay. My number 3, iconic, A Few Good Men, You Can't Handle the Truth, Jack Nicholson facing off with Tom Cruise. Yeah. I've watched this movie quite a few times, and I've watched this scene so many times.
Yeah.
It's the fact that Jack Nicholson, his head doesn't move. His whole body doesn't move. It's just his mouth that is moving. But he says it's so much vitriol and so, there's a couple of times where his head jerks as if he's trying to force the words out of his mouth even more. And
like what he really wants to say to Tom Cruise. Like he's, like this, he's just poked. Yeah.
And it is just, again, a masterclass of acting. But what would you expect from someone like Jack Nicholson?
And it's Aaron Sorkin.
There you go. And it also, I think, great actors make it look so easy to act.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a movie I always think, I'm not a huge fan of any of those actors, but if that's on TV, I will watch it because of the writing.
And it's very, I think that's the thing with Aaron Sorkin and like we said about Mamet as well, is that it only takes a couple of sentences to drag you in. Because it seems like every sentence, every word is perfectly crafted for that specific moment. I know that's what writing is supposed to be, but good writing, it only takes a couple of sentences and then you're there, Right. So for me, I mean, everybody knows that scene. But if you just look at Jack Nicholson, you see it's just his mouth that's moving. It's almost like he's dead behind the eyes because he's just... He's just fighting to get these words out, and obviously Tom Cruise knows what he's doing. He's poking the bear, and he wants him to lose control. But okay, then Jen, you're number 2.
Okay, another recent one, but I went with Barbie, 2023.
Okay,
America Ferrera's Gloria, the speech that begins with, "It is literally impossible to be a woman." And that's another one I feel like culturally, that not a shift that seems too powerful, but I think something happened in that speech. I remember in the theater, it was like a gut punch, almost like a kick, because it was just like I feel like she was saying things that women don't always express or don't feel they can express. And it was kind of like, oh, I'm not the only one that thinks like this, kind of. And it's all about the pressure we put on ourselves and the contradictions. And I mean, I don't want to go on a feminist rant, but honestly, guys need to watch the movie, especially. The movie's fantastic, but that speech to me is, it was, and Greta Gerwig wrote it, so I'm giving her props as well.
I can remember watching it. I remember watching it and watching that speech. And it came to the end of it, and I just thought to myself, why don't you shut up? No, I'm only joking.
Leave.
Exactly. I don't want to get. I'm joking. Please, before you start sending out emails saying that I'm being sexist, I'm only joking. It was genuine. I mean, because I think I watched it when it came on TV. I watched Barbie. I didn't go to the cinema to watch it, and I was really surprised because I thought it was just going to be like a chick flick.
Oh, me too. I
didn't realize how layered it was going to be, and how. And I must admit, I mean, I'm not a feminist, but I got quite emotional with that whole speech. It became a thing of like, that isn't for me. Obviously, it's not for me.
Right.
But I was really surprised with how good Barbie was, and it wasn't what I thought the movie was going to be. It definitely wasn't that, but that is a good one. That is a very good one.
I think about, well, this is going back a little bit, like what Wonder Woman meant, I think, for me and women in my generation, because I think of us growing up, every movie, the women they're always kidnapped. They're being held hostage, and they have to be rescued. And there were fight scenes. And they literally just be like, "Watch out!" Like never. And then even Princess Leia, as much of a badass as she was, like she's kidnapped and has to be rescued. I mean, basically, and someone made a comment about and then, Princess Bride, which is another classic with Princess Buttercup and stuff. And after Wonder Woman came out in the new Star Wars, and there was a quote about how the princesses of our childhood have grown up to be generals.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, like we've waited a long time to be like, we're in charge, like we're the strong ones kind of thing. Because that's not what we saw growing up. It was like helpless.
And also, I think you're right in Wonder Woman as well. That scene where she's sort of like, she's walking over
no man's land. Yeah.
Amazing. And so emotional.
That to me, that was tears started pouring down my face in the theater, and I didn't know why.
Yeah.
And I think it was because of that, like having the images I grew up with of the having to be rescued and all that stuff. And she's like, this is the right thing to do. I'm doing it. And she just, that was a very powerful scene for me.
Very good. Very good. That's your number 2.
Yes, it is.
My number 2, you said earlier on that you didn't know which Kevin Costner one I was going to do. At number 2, I've got the I Believe scene from Bull Durham.
That's the one that I bumped.
Which was it? That was the one you bumped. Oh, yeah. I mean,
because I had that poster on my wall in my college dorm.
Did you?
There was with him with the jacket that had the orange lining, and it was the quote. But I realize now they cut some of the.
I bet they did.
Because I'm like, wait, that wasn't on my poster. But I almost had that on the list.
Yeah,
but I'm like,
it's
he's going to have it because I know he loves his Kevin Costner movies.
It has to be. I mean, he looks so cool in that movie. He is really cool in that movie, and the fact that him and who was it, Tim Robbins, fighting over Susan Sarandon, and he's basically saying that he doesn't try out anymore because she's there, like choosing which one. And she says, "What do you believe? What do you believe in?" And he comes out with this whole, There's a few naughty words in there and stuff, it believes in opening his presents Christmas morning rather than Christmas Eve, and I believe in I couldn't do it. Look, long, slow, deep, soft, wet kisses that last 3 days. Oh, you can't.
And I say, "Oh my!"
Yeah, that's right. See, if I hadn't messed that line up, look, we could have done it then. We could have recreated it, but I need another pass at the words. But never mind. Okay. Before we reveal our number 1s, Jen, do you want to give us a countdown of 10 to 2? I'll do the same, and then we'll reveal our number 1s.
Okay, my number 10, Down with Love, Renee Zellweger's speech to Ewan McGregor. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Number 9, the opening monologue. Number 8, Independence Day, President Whitmore's speech to the troops. Number 7, Liam Neeson's speech in Taken. Number 6, the Cuckoo Clock speech from The Third Man. Number 5, Dead Poet Society, the Carpe Diem speech. Number 4, Wolverine's speech to Deadpool in the Honda Odyssey. And number 3, Alec Baldwin's character in Malice. Number 2, America Ferrera's speech in Barbie.
Wonderful. And mine is number 10, Always Be Closing, Glengarry Glen Ross. Number 9, it's the Well Marie, once again, my dear, John Candy, Planes, Trains and Automobiles. Number 8 was The Gold Watch, Pulp Fiction. Number 7, Ezekiel 25:17, Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Fiction. At number 6, Keep Moving Forward, Rocky Balboa, Sylvester Stallone. At number 5 is Robert Shaw as Quint doing the US Indianapolis delivering the bomb speech. At number 4 is Terrence Mann, They Will Come, Field of Dreams. And number 3, You Can't Handle the Truth, Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men. And number 2, the I Believe speech in Bull Durham from Kevin Costner. So Jen, what is your number 1 movie monologue?
But it's my number 1, and it is a speech from 1943's The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp.
Oh.
It's Anton Walbrook, is the actor. The writers are it's Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger. Again, it's one of those, I don't know how to describe how much I love this movie because a lot of people don't know it, but his character, he's an old German soldier who was a longtime friend. It's like this huge, it begins in 1902 where Roger Livesey, who's amazing, and they meet in like Germany, like after the Boer War, and they become friends, but they go off and there's World War I and then World War II. And so Anton Wolbert, his character's name is Theo Kretschmar Schuldorf. And here he is at the end. He's an old man. He's coming to Britain because his late wife was English. And the immigration office is sort of giving him a hard time. Like, well, you're German. Like, we can't, even if you say you're a friend of ours and da-da-da-da-da. And then he gives this monologue that it's over 3 minutes. It's just him and just the camera, and it moves in very quietly. And it's just hypnotic and intense, and all the background, like everything fades away, and it's just him talking, and it's nostalgic and heartbreaking and why he wants to come to England. And again, one take, I remember seeing it the first time, and I feel like I almost forgot to breathe because it's just this intense, and he's very quiet. And then I feel there's so much going on because you have this scene, which is amazing that they even made this movie in England in 1943 because Churchill tried to ban it.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And it's even some of the shots and the Technicolor. I even though I've seen it, I own it, and I'd still be like, what year was this made? Because I can't believe they did this shot in 1943, or they were able to do these kind of special effects. Like, it's that. But this scene, to have this actor, it's written by a Hungarian Jew who fled the Nazis, Emmerich Pressburger, and he's talking about his experience as an immigrant, like trying to come to England. And it's spoken by an Austrian Jew who fled the Nazis, Anton Walbrook, who is also a closeted homosexual. So like all these, so he's saying this speech, they're making this in 1943 in London, and it's just, there's a lot going on, but it's very powerful. It's very powerful. So
Wow.
That's my number one. And it's just a reason for me to tell everyone that I highly recommend this film. I don't think a lot of people remember it, but it is a masterpiece. Masterpiece. Yeah. Scorsese loves it. Scorsese loves it.
Well, if Scorsese loves it, then
yes.
Then
he does the commentary on
does he?
On the Criterion. Oh yeah. He loves himself some Powell and Pressburger. Absolutely. Right. And their other movie was my number one on my black and white list. I know where I'm going. So
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
All comes full
If anything,
circle.
you're consistent, Jen, aren't you? That's the thing. Absolutely consistent. Hopefully, all of these will be put up on the video playlist for Top
you can find all these online. They're
awesome.
all my speeches are on YouTube.
Perfect.
I'm taking this is not your number one.
It's not my number one. So unfortunately, we've got none the same. Not a single one. Which is amazing. Good. That means we've got 20 completely different ones.
It's true. It's true.
See, and I was wondering whether or not you count this as a monologue because it is basically 3 sentences, maybe 4 sentences. But it is Tears in Rain, Blade Runner, Rutger Hauer. It's the fact that you've gone through sort of like the 20 minutes beforehand where it's a chase scene. It's very violent. It's very high energy. And then you go to this point where it's just quiet rain, and Roy Batty has decided that it's time to die, which is the last words he says. It's just a beautiful moment, and it's just beautifully done. It doesn't matter what version you see. That scene is pretty much the same. And I love it. I can remember, I can't remember the song now, but I wrote a song called Tears in Rain because of that particular, because I thought, what a great thought that something would be lost like Tears in Rain. It's just a great it's just a great image. And then bloody James Blunt went and did a song called Tears in Rain as well and had a hit with it. And I thought, oh, well, there you go. Bloody James Blunt. He's got to ruin everything.
I know. Jeez Louise.
But there you go. That's my number one. Let's quickly run through these honorable mentions. Maria Pereira.
I had a few that I'm like, this is tough, but
okay.
I tried not to. When you did the post, I'm like, I can't look at what people are commenting because I'm going to want to change my list.
That's the trouble.
And so I'm like, nope, don't check, because as soon as I read, I'm going to be like, oh.
Yeah, one thing that made me laugh is a few people with their honorable mentions actually posted the whole speech, which I won't go through those. But Maria Pereira said the opening of Mallrats, Brody's speech. One time my cousin Walter got his cat stuck up his ass. Also the ending monologue from Smoke Signals. It's a poem by Dick Laurie called How Do We Forgive Our Fathers? It really fit the film and still sticks with me today. Dave Spur said True Romance, the Sicilian scene between Christopher Walken and Dennis Hopper. It's a great scene, that is. That was written by Tarantino. Stuart Turvey said Quint from Jaws and Tears in Rain from Blade Runner. John Nichols said Belushi in Animal House. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Robert Hill, Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Fiction. I mean, you can take your pick on that one. Callie Kastner said, me, I'm scared of everything. I'm scared of what I did. I'm scared of what I saw and who I am. But most of all, I'm scared of walking out of this room and never feeling the rest of my whole life the way I did when I did with you. Baby Huntsman. Now,
that quote I would have gotten.
I should have done that in my Bogart, but I'm not going to.
The maracas. Come on.
That's right. Lisa Buchanan, hello Lisa, said Bill Pullman in Independence Day, Robin Williams in Dead Poet Society, Mel Gibson in Braveheart, Mandy Patinkin in Princess Bride, America Ferrera in Barbie, and Tara P. Henson in Hidden Figures, which was one of my honorable mentions. I was going to put that in, but didn't.
Surprised you didn't have Braveheart. I really thought for sure you'd have Braveheart.
It was definitely on my list. She says I could go on for days, but these are some of my favorites. So I feel that Lisa's got in there with you with a few of hers. Yeah, absolutely.
I know. Hopefully we get to meet in person someday.
Vanessa Frey says America Ferrera's speech about being a woman in Barbie, Tahara P. Henson's speech about segregation of bathrooms in Hidden Figures, Jimmy Stewart's Buildings and Loan speech in It's a Wonderful Life.
I thought of Neil, but I mean, everything in that movie is quotable. I couldn't have picked one thing.
And Humphrey Bogart's "Here's looking at you, kid" speech from Casablanca. Okay, I'm going to roll that out again. Gabrielle Lopez says Al Pacino in Scent of a Woman. Tessa Charles says Sly Stallone in Rocky Balboa. Also from Kevin McGuinness, we have Kevin Costner's closing argument during the trial in JFK. Donald Sutherland as X in JFK, explaining what happened. Bill Murray at the end of Scrooged. Al Pacino tearing into Spacey and Glengarry Glen Ross. Robin Williams' apology and What Dreams May Come. Billy Crystal telling Meg Ryan he loves her at the end of When Harry Met Sally. The Joker explaining his scars at a party in The Dark Knight. Morpheus explaining The Matrix to Neo. Tyler Durden explains Fight Club. Tom Cruise is a total D-bag on stage in Magnolia. Julianne Moore rips into the pharmacist in Magnolia. Denzel's pre-battle speech in Glory. Tim Curry during pretty much the last third of Clue. Dumbledore honours Cedric by telling the truth in Goblet of Fire. Daniel Day-Lewis's sale pitch in There Will Be Blood. DDL drinks our milkshakes in There Will Be Blood. Sergeant Toomey introducing himself to the new soldiers in Biloxi Blues. Kevin Spacey explaining who Kaiser Soze is in The Usual Suspects. Tim Roth's commode story in Reservoir Dogs. Silent Bob speaks about relationships in Chasing Amy. Coach Pacino in The Locker Room of Any Given Sunday. Mr. Keaton explaining what we stay alive for in Dead Poet Society. Steve Martin roasts himself in Roxanne. Howard Beale explains why he's so upset in Network. The President's final speech in The American President. Gunnery Sergeant Hartman introduces himself to soldiers in Full Metal Jacket. And he also says, clearly I was avoiding doing something more productive tonight. I think I could do this for 3 more hours too, if it weren't too late. Rick Tyndall says Rex Harrison from The Ghost and Mrs. Muir. I absolutely love this movie. And Dawn Sardella airs is the "It'll be because you're an arsehole" speech in The Social Network. Musical lyrical lingo. Hello guys, said The Princess Bride. My name is Inigo Montoya. Jeff Flores, the Maximus Decimus Meridius from
I thought you'd have that one too.
I did, but that was the one I thought to myself, that is that a monologue or is that just a speech?
Yeah.
But then I've got the one that's 3 sentences at number 1, so I should have had it.
I know. It was tough.
And also Liam Neeson has taken, Jeff had. And finally, Chris Hughes said it has to be Quint's Indianapolis speech in Jaws. Just terrifying. Still makes me nervous to go paddling in a pool now. And Rick Tyndall says that the Jaws one is one of the greatest scenes from any movie.
Oh, gosh. No, I don't want to watch Jaws again. It's scary. I'll just watch that scene.
Just watch that scene. Just watch that
I don't want to see the shark attack.
No.
I think I saw that movie way too young.
I think it's weird you say that, because I think I remember being, I must have been...
We were like 8 or 9 when it came out.
Yeah, very young.
It was on TV. I wouldn't have seen it in the theater. My parents wouldn't have taken me, so it must have been on TV a lot in like the early 80s.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt. It was like a Christmas
And I remember
movie.
in college, they would do parties in the pool. Like they would screen it in the indoor pool, and you would be in the water in like a raft and stuff. And I'm like, nope.
Yeah, they do that over here now, where you can watch it in a boat and stuff out on a lake. I mean, who's going to pay for that? Why would you pay to do that? Jeez, I just wouldn't.
No.
But we've done it, Jen. That's your hat trick in the back of the net. Goal. Well
Yay!
done. Well done. Please come and join us again.
Oh, for sure. I have to think of some other movie category.
We're going to have to think of something, aren't we? We're going to definitely have to top 10 moments in Deadpool versus Wolverine.
And this was tough too, but I knew the other thing was, well, even the famous ones you did at the beginning, I can't help but notice no women. So
blame Ranker.com.
I know. So I'm like, I was trying to get more women. I know. It's tough. That's why Barbie is such an important movie.
Absolutely. What are the other ones on your honorable mentions before we say goodbye?
Well, I thought about the Meryl Streep in Devil Wears Prada, because when she talks about the belt and stuff, that's a great one. But that movie's not one I quote a lot. I had All About Eve. There's a scene in the back of the car with Bette Davis and Celeste Holm. But again, I watched it, and it's not as long as I remembered. And I thought, and again, I've been seeing it forever. The Clerks, isn't it the end of Clerks when that guy goes on about the Death Star and the people working on the Death Star?
That's right. Yes. That was on my list.
I had on my the other Robin Williams was this really long speech in Good Will Hunting when he's talking to Matt Damon about the Sistine Chapel stuff. But I did Dead Poets instead. It was really tough. I mean, I could have been a contender. Was Marlon Brando on the waterfront? Yeah, it was. Yeah, I was trying to, do a couple different decades, but it was harder than I thought it was going to be.
There you go. We'll finish with a ding. Jen, thank you so much. It's lovely to see you. We'll let you get back let you get back doing whatever it was you're doing.
Yes.
And for everybody else, we'll say goodbye and thank you very much for watching and listening. And let's go start the countdown.